this is really about the fact that we've talked about factoring the ocean into things, and you can go back to COP14 in Paris in 2008, where it was seen to be important. Then we've had the IPBES report recently, but that still didn't fully acknowledge ocean issues. And of course, we've got, as Morella says, a special topic report coming out that we have high hopes will finally put UNFCCC center stage on ocean matters. But for me, I guess, where we are now, if I can sort of paint an analogy, if you go to the last book of the Bible, Revelations, you have the mythical four horsemen of the apocalypse. And right now, we're only talking about one of the riders when we look generally in the media, and that is surface warming. And of course, there's three other riders in that prophecy. There's ocean heating, there's ocean deoxygenation, and there's the other side of carbon dioxide, which is ocean acidification. And I think when we look kind of over the last couple of years, certainly ourselves on the science side have been really taken aback by the scale, depth and speed of the changes that we're now seeing. So if you recall the IPBES report and Bob Watson, the chair of that process, he was quoted widely as saying, "Boy, are we in trouble." And he was referring to the loss of 1 million species. And I think if you factor those other three riders in, we need to rewrite what Bob says and say, boy, are we in deep, deep trouble. And I think the reason for that is you look at the living space on the planet, 97% of the living space on this planet for species is the ocean, and it controls our climate. It controls many other things, including the goods and services for millions of people, such as fish. It helps process clean water, for example. It helps provide water through the water cycle for irrigation on land and so forth. And it's really surprising, I think, still in 2019. I mean, it's great to see that the UNFCCC are doing their special topic report, but it's not before time. And I think, as I said earlier, we've been taken aback by the speed and the intensity of change. When I started looking at ocean acidification in 2004, I was called down to Plymouth Marine Laboratory. It's just when the government had found out about what we then called surface ocean acidification. It was 2050 to 2070 before we thought we were going to have effects. And right now on the western seaboard of the Americas, not just North America, but South America, there are places where you can't cultivate shellfish in the wild now because the waters are too acidic due to a side effect of ocean acidification. And I think when we look more generally, we sort of perhaps falsely heartened ourselves a few years ago by thinking that the atmospheric CO2 had leveled off. Well, as we know, it's jumping up again now. Ocean warming is accelerating. The speed and scale of the heating of the ocean is 40 times faster than the UN predicted perhaps 5 years ago. The upper ocean warming is changing the global wave climate. It's amazing to think that it was just 50 years ago we looked back at the Earth from those Apollo 8 Earthrise photos and could never imagine we'd change that volume of the Earth in the way that we're doing it so that the wave climate is becoming stronger. We see more melt at Greenland, not so much from the top of the ice cap, but the concerns are that that's getting algae on it and changing, but more from the land-fast ice sheets. The Bering Sea potentially may change from an Arctic ecosystem to an Atlantic one. We see mass melting of Antarctic ice. And so, the message I think we've got it's the other three horsemen, and it's not just about sea level rise. It's not just about the surface warming of land that we've really got to worry about. And these are the things that are going to come back and bite us. And I guess, what we're about here is saying, we do know the things we need to do, but the issue is that we now need that grand ambition and we now need that leadership and direction if we're going to get ahead of a curve on all these things.